कुछ
Done, sir.
वैसे तो एनीवे जूम में तो आजकल एवरीवन इज अ मास्टर सो नथिंग इज देयर.
Good morning, Niranjan sir, and very good morning to all the people. We are once again back with a bang. We did so many webinars in between in the month of April and May with our star performer and our president, and the unstoppable name is Niranjan Hiranandani. With his blessings, we had all excellent events, which were people were all the time asking me कि यार तुम लोग ने वेबिनार्स क्यों बंद कर दिए. मैं बोला देयर शुड बी सम गैप, अदरवाइज क्या है कि आपको रोज खाना मिलते जाता है तो वो खाने की स्वाद भी पता नहीं चलती है और वो भूख भी पता नहीं चलती है. So we thought कि अब नहीं, there should be a pause, and the pause was required because unlocking was happening, because people were, when we did it, it was total lockdown, Corona period. And I would like to tell all of you here that under the leadership of our President Niranjan Hiranandani, then Vice Chairman Praveen Jain and Chairman Raju Talwar and entire team and secretariat of NAREDCO at all various state level as well as national level, we did wonderful job, excellent work. We worked hand in glove with the ministry every day in, day out. I would once again like to mention, take the special names of Kishore Bhatija and Kirti Shah and UN Primus partners for that matter. These all people helped us in making all representations wherein we could get. I know today whatever वो बोलते हैं ना, दिल मांगे मोर, ऐसी हालत है कि रियल एस्टेट में कितना भी मिले, क्योंकि रियल एस्टेट was already into trouble from last 4-5 years, and Corona has broken the backbone of the real estate. In a way, I will tell you, this is a positive note. You people, many of the people might get annoyed with me for taking a positive note, because there was एक ठहराव की जरूरत थी अपने को, अपने इंडस्ट्री में, because nobody was knowing where we are heading or what is happening, because everybody was confused. और ये कोरोना के पीरियड में कोरोना ने लोगों को जीना सिखा दिया. मतलब किसी की कितनी बड़ी मर्सिडीज गाड़ी है, या किसी के पास जेट प्लेन है, या हेलीकॉप्टर है, या कितनी महंगे ज्वेलरी है, या कुछ भी है, वो सारों की कीमत जीरो हो गई थी. सिर्फ एक ही चीज की कीमत थी, वो सिर्फ घर की कीमत थी. तो हर एक को पहले जो घर लगता था, कि आज जितने भी यंग जनरेशन है वो लोग को ऐसा लगता था कि व्हाई यू वांट टू बाय एन होम, देयर इज नो नीड, बिकॉज यू कैन रेंट इट आउट और यू कैन स्टे इन अ accommodation as a PG, or you can take a studio apartment and stay. तो वो जो नोशन था, वो नोशन कोरोना ने पूरे लोगों का तोड़ दिया. और कोरोना का जब तक वैक्सीन आने तक जो लोग सारी पूछते हैं कि वैक्सीन किधर है, वैक्सीन किधर है, वैक्सीन किधर है, तो मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि एक वैक्सीन आ गई है, दूसरी वैक्सीन की जरूरत है. तो पहली वैक्सीन आपका खुद का घर है. तो जो लोगों का घर था वही पूरी वैक्सीन हो गई है आज लोगों के लिए, और जो जो अपने घर पे थे उनके लिए कोरोना से काफी चीज सुरक्षित रही है. सो अभी ये लॉकडाउन के बाद में, आई नो व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट, द वे फॉरवर्ड. See, we have represented to financial institution also, and we also had an excellent meeting yesterday with Secretary DFA of Economic Affairs. So we are always following up and working day and night with hand in gloves and shoulder to shoulder with all our senior members and with the guidance of all the senior people. So I would like to welcome all of you for this real estate sales and marketing in current times. Current times means in COVID times. In normal times, everybody knows how the business was to be done. See, today this is a total changing time, because the people when in real estate industry, it was said that pre-RERA and post-RERA era would be decided. The same way, the pre-COVID and post-COVID era would be also written, because whatever rules and regulation norms we used to follow pre-COVID, they are not going to be the same, at least till normalcy returns to that. So it is called that, now it is called as that this is the new normal of the life. So welcome all of you, all my participants, all my fellow developers, all my friends. And now I would request Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani to give his presidential address. Over to you, Niranjan sir.
Very, very good morning to each and every one of you. You all are very, very important people to the real estate industry. Today, a lot of it, when the markets are down, as Mr. Bandelkar just mentioned to you, obviously the sales and marketing becomes extremely important. And I'm really happy that we have held this conference here today in order to see how we can actually leapfrog into the new generations. I'm remembering a story, and I'm going to share this story with you, my friends. The story is of 1991. It's an old story, but it's worth recounting. There was one company called Premier Automobiles, which manufactured Fiat. And there was another company called Hindustan Motors, which manufactured the Ambassador. When the revolution took place in terms of opening up of the economy, the Maharashtra government committed to Premier Automobiles that please don't change technology, please keep the labor, don't upgrade the technology, and we assure you that every taxi in the future will continue to be Fiats, so you don't close down your factory and don't need to upgrade. And that stupidity continued, and you know what is the halat of Fiat cars? It disappeared. They didn't get a chance to upgrade, they did not change the technology, they didn't do anything, and they vanished. Similarly, the West Bengal government committed that the taxis in West Bengal and the cars to be purchased by the government will be perennially ambassadors. And as you know, the real story is that it disappeared because the technology changed, the upgradation were required, and we needed to change. The third thing which happened at that point of time was the way the cars were marketed. First, those cars were rationed. You had to actually wait for 5 years, 6 years queue in order to buy a Fiat or an Ambassador car. And when you bought it, there was a premium on it on the day when you took the delivery. So you could actually illegally sell it because you're not allowed to sell it for 3 years. Can you imagine that time? And I'm laughing about it. And so the changes took place in the economy. Now, what has happened is the real estate industry over the last 3 years has also undergone a similar paradigm. Of course, it's partly the change in RERA, partly in change in the demonetization, partly in change in GST, partly in change of the surpluses created by the flat developers in terms of it. That is one of the stories which is extremely important to the whole thing. There's a second story which I want to share with you. And the second story goes like that. There's a company, very large company. It's called Hindustan Unilever, the famous company which does all the sales of so many items and all. When they want to introduce a new product, they not only do research in the product, but they do extensive market research. They study who's going to be the customer, what is likely to be the size of the market, what is it, should they introduce a new product, should they make changes in the old product, is the presentation correct, have they positioned the product in a proper way, or is it an improper production? Now, this is the most successful company in India, if not the world, which has even grown during the pandemic times. So, but what is the effort taken by the company in order to study the marketplace is unimaginable. The amount of effort taken to understand what the composition of the market will be. And I'll end with a third short story. There's a company called Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and a Maruti Suzuki. In 2019, production of Mercedes-Benz was 10,000 plus cars. The BMW cars was 9,000 plus cars. And the company called Maruti Suzuki sold 17 lakh cars, 1.7 million cars. Now, a manager in Mercedes-Benz suggested to Germany that they will now next year produce 1,50,000 cars. And that the person who suggested it was sacked because he did not make any application of mind that cars which are now only 10,000 selling he can't dream, because even though productivity and production can take place, He can't actually sell those 1.5 lakh cars. So he was removed from the company for making the suggestion, forget actually getting implementation, because it is there. But in real estate, you know, it's quite different. So I will end over there by saying that the paradigm has changed. Thank you very much, all my friend panelists, for coming over here and educating us on the new paradigms which are taking place, how we are required to change in the new novel times that have taken place, pandemic, post-pandemic, post-demonetization, post-GST, post-RERA, post-reduction in stamp duty, post all these things. What is the changes that are really going to take place? I'm sure you have many stories to tell which are better than mine, because you are incestuously connected with the industry in a much more professional and a detailed way. And you will give us ideas which we will carry over today from us through this meeting and taking place. So I'm really privileged on behalf of NAREDCO to welcome you all to this platform in terms of interaction. And I hope we will all go away educated in terms of what we need to do and to make it successful, just like the Marutis of the world have done, just as the Hindustan Unilevers of the world have come. I'm sure the real estate developers of the world will also go away educated by you people today and take a new paradigm in order to make sales and marketing and really make and bring back real estate to its new normal, which is going to be very soon. I'm very, very bullish about the real estate industry. We have worked with the government of India on housing for all, affordable housing for all. We have worked on various policy measures which are there. We have worked with the state government in order to reduce the stamp duty. We are working on other issues to be done. We are working with the banks and financial institutions, and we have got the lowest interest rates in terms of the history of India, 6.9% interest rates with inflation of 5%. So actually the net cost to the customer is hardly 2% is the real rate of interest if you take it in real terms. So it's the best time to actually buy an apartment, nothing better than that. But I'm sure you will tell us how to sell the apartments and how to market it and make the story of real estate a success story, which we need. Roti kapda makan. Roti kapda to Hindustan mein aa gaya hai. We have got surpluses of food in our godown. Kapda sabke paas hai. With your help, we'll be able to see that we can market makan to each and every one of you. Thank you very much. Wonderful day to each one of you, and look forward to get educated today and go back home much more knowledgeable and gyani than I am today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. As always, you have set the tone for the discussions today. And fortunately, we have a very distinguished panel with us, representing most of the stakeholders. I'd like to introduce them, sir. We have Mr. Gaurav Jain, Chairman of SAMYAK, and our Vice President, Pradeep Agarwalji, Chairman of Signature Global, who have been doing great work in affordable housing, unmatched work. Dharmesh Shahji is EVP of Puravankara Group, sir. He will be representing. Then we have Ravi Sharma ji from Ranwal Group. Then Mr. Ramesh KV, Rameshji. And then we have my old friend Jashri Group. She is from Magic Brick. We have Hemant Panikar ji from HDFC. We have Vikas Chaturvedi, CEO of Xanadu, which we had introduced him earlier. So, and most importantly, sir, Sutradhara of today is Chaitanya Jain. Chaitanya Seth. He is from E&Y, and he's been doing quite a bit, and I'm thankful for the time he has spent in preparation for this event, and he'll be now coordinating. So I hand over to him for laying the framework now, how he's going to do it, and then take up the panels. Thank you very much. Over to you, Chaitanya.
Thank you, Rajeshji. Absolute pleasure to be here on this platform, sharing my views and moderating this panel discussion on potentially the most relevant and most challenging problem the industry is facing today. That is, how can I sell more? How can I sell better? And how can I sell faster? I'm pretty sure almost all the board rooms are thinking of innovative ways of how we can drive sales velocity and customer engagement. Before I jump into the panel discussion, let me just set a brief context in what we plan to discuss in the panel. If you look at the industry, even pre-COVID, the industry was going through a challenging time. Sales velocity was a problem even then. And prices were kind of stable or marginally increasing and marginally decreasing. So what COVID did, COVID actually accelerated and compounded this problem because of the three shifts it brought along with it. One was the economic shift. Today, the consumer sentiment is actually all-time low. There are job cuts, there are pay cuts, there are anxiety, which hits developer in three different ways. One, it makes some customers to probably postpone their purchase. Second, it may actually delay or lead to default of the payments of the demand which your builder might raise. Third, it also increases the kind of risk of cancellation of the bookings what people would have made. So it essentially means that as a developer, I would need to create a proactive strategy which mitigates my cash flow risk, which mitigates my sales protection risk, and also create a method and a strategy to stimulate demand and create a positive sentiment around it. So that's one area which we're going to discuss extensively in the panel discussion today from a demand and market outlook perspective. Second shift which COVID has brought is a behavior shift. I think COVID has actually taught the importance of home to all of us who have never felt ever before. Today, people are wanting bigger spaces. They want some extra space for work from home. They want extra space maybe for online schooling, for help, and so on and so forth. So suddenly, the importance and the need of home has kind of come far more in a reinforced manner. Now, this has actually led in terms of who are my customers? Where are they coming from? What are they buying? Why are they buying and how are they buying? If you look at NRI as a classic example, I think in the last 6 months, because of the economic crisis globally, there's a lot of home coming. And we actually saw some of the developers posting 20 to 50% of their sales from this particular bucket. So is that a bucket which probably can be tapped? Is that a sustainable bucket? Are there methods by which the new method of the customer journey or the buying process, even if you look at pre-COVID, right, 99% of the customers actually used online to research or create awareness before they ended up making a purchase on the real estate platform. So basically, now what has happened is it has got extended to the entire buying journey, and developers are now trying to ensure that they're actually able to address this entire journey. So the second area which you would want to discuss during the panel is how are we kind of looking at the changing behavior, changing preferences, and the changing buying journey of a customer. And as a developer, what steps I can take? Maybe do I need to relook at my entire operating model, which means my marketing mix, my customer mix, my price or a product mix? To make that happen, that's the second area we'll discuss. And the third shift which COVID has brought on is the social shift. I think social distancing and work from home are pretty much new normal, and they are going to stay there. Which essentially means that as a developer, I should be able to engage with my customers, my channel partners, my investors, my employees in a pretty much remote and a contactless manner. Provide them the information, what they want, when they want, and where they want. I think that's the kind of a context which is putting, again, a thinking on the developer, how they are reimagining the enabling environment of digital data and people to actually fuel this entire thing. So these are the three broad areas, if I may say so, is what we kind of intend to talk about, which are going to talk about how we are able to improve the demand market outlook, capitalize on that demand, and actually hit the numbers much of the sales velocity of the pre-COVID levels and fuel a further growth on that. So with that, I'll open the panel discussion, and let me start with you, Jayashree. Jayashree, your business being on an aggregator platform actually sees no boundary in the business, right? You have developers across India, customers across India, and outside India as well coming in. So can you throw some light how you have seen demand changing from a pre-COVID to a COVID era? Because I'm saying COVID because we are still in the COVID era. So pre-COVID to COVID era, across different regions or micro markets, across different ticket sizes, across, let's say, ready to move in versus under construction. If you can throw some light, how you've seen those patterns and the behaviors changing from a demand perspective. If you're on mute.
See, Chaitanya, there were two ways in which we were able to assess demand. The first was the customer behavior on Magicbricks itself, on the channel. If I ask you in a survey, you may fix a couple of things, but when you're searching for yourself, right? That is the actual customer behavior. And we've done a deep analysis. We've got data scientists, we've got machine learning, all that on very large volumes of data. One of the things that we found was there was intense search. People were coming back again and again. Even, we would say that in the last 2-3 years, what we've noticed is the same customer who used to come to the portal, say 3 times in his journey, had started coming 7 to 8 times. He was not sure. He was checking, rechecking, finding out what others are doing. And this gave us a huge insight into what the customer was looking for. The second thing, as soon as COVID lockdown began, we actually did a survey on customers, a very large volume of customers. And we got about, I think this was sometime in early April. So this was just after COVID. And we were surprised at the extent of the fall. It was a very, very steep fall in customer sentiment. Probably about 90% of them said, "Abhi kharidenge nahi. We are not buying, we are not," because this was the panic reaction. And we believed that it was going to take a long while to come out of this. But what happened was in July, we did the same survey all over again and found that about 90-95% of consumers in the beginning who had said, "I'm not buying," had come back and said, "I am buying." So that very strong urge to buy had come in the consumer in the just after the first lockdown had lifted. So clearly, house and the importance of the house had become a very big thing. The second thing was that in markets where there had been uncertainty, especially in the north, also in Mumbai region, there had been, the customer said that I want to buy ready to move-in houses. For 2 reasons. One, that the need was immediate. They wanted to move into their own houses. If they were ready houses, they were considering it actively. The second thing was that they did not want to take the risk of a delayed construction. And that's why risk of a delayed possession. And that's why a lot of people said that they want to have ready to move in houses. But there was one city that completely went against this, and that was Hyderabad. 55% of our consumers said, "I'll buy ready to under construction houses. I want to buy a house and I want to step up my payments. I don't want to pay large amounts." Remember, when you buy a ready to move in house, you have to pay a much larger amount upfront. And Hyderabad consumers are quite happy buying new, freshly launched houses. And this was also true in Bangalore. The southern market seemed to be more tuned towards property that has been launched. The second thing was that the consumer said that I want bigger houses, not very small houses. That whatever your size you were considering, you wanted slightly bigger. If it was 2, it was 2 plus 1. If it was 3, it was 3 plus 1. 2 and 3 seemed to be the hot favorites across markets. We asked them, will you drop the prices? They want a lower price. They don't want to spend as much as they were planning to spend earlier, but they wanted larger houses. This is only possible when you go into the peripheries. And this is also possible if you go into the non-premium localities in your considered target area. And both these they are willing to do. It's not the premiumness of the locality or the premium or how close you are to the core, but it is that you want larger houses, a more living space where you, your spouse, your children can all work from home. Because clearly, like you said, it is the new reality. The other thing that we noticed was that the kind of amenities that they were asking for, it was about the very basic amenities. They wanted, if there were a couple of developers who launched properties where they said that we are giving you cleaner air fresheners, freshener units are there. Those are in demand. People are concerned about health. They're not looking so much for a swimming pool, I think was the biggest casualty in this entire thing. Nobody's looking for swimming pools right now. What they do want is, can there be a space in your clubhouse or your common area which can double up as a business center? because sometimes you have small children, you have old parents, you have too many people in the house, and it's not conducive to very active work. So instead of going far away, is it possible that you can also include a business center, a small, very basic business center within your complex that is in hot demand? I also feel this will extend to co-working spaces in neighborhoods. You know, the neighborhood co-working spaces could make a comeback. That's our assessment of the situation. But more than anything, people are going for basics. There has to be water, power, quality of life. You should have place to walk. You should have a lot of emphasis on greens. If you tell them that there's an urban forest here, there's a, leaving more green areas, these are things that people are considering. The other big shift that we've noticed is people don't want to go to the sites. A lot of people, especially NRIs and so on, who are not going to the sites, many of them are saying that let me use digital technology. So virtual tours, video images, these are all very important for them to consider. And if it is a newly launched thing, they really want to know who's constructing, who's designed it. And the circulation of the area within the house is very important. You don't want narrow passages and things like that. If it is better designed, those are things that consumers have started asking for. So in a nutshell, these were some of the trends we noticed.
Fantastic, Jashi. I think this really gives a direction in terms of how you have seen demand kind of coming back from the month of July. And basis that, let me just go to Pradeep ji and understand. I think you had a fantastic dream run. And I want to understand pre-COVID, how was your outlook on the demand? What were your sentiments when actually this pandemic hit? And where are you finding this demand, specifically in the value housing and affordable housing coming in the near future?
Yeah, thank you, Chaitanya. So first of all, good morning, everyone. And मेरे मेंटोर और हमारे पैनल के भी मेंटोर जो हमारे प्रेसिडेंट हैं डॉक्टर निरंजन हीरानंदानी जी, उनका जो ओपनिंग रिमार्क था उसमें बहुत बड़ा एक मैसेज था फॉर ऑल द डेवलपर्स जो आज एक जो कन्वेंशनल माइंडसेट में चल रहे हैं, जैसे हमें टाइम के साथ चेंज होना पड़ेगा। 1991 की स्टोरी बताई, जिससे बहुत सारी जिन लोगों ने अपने आप को चेंज नहीं किया, लोगों ने या मार्केट ने उन्हें चेंज कर दिया। तो मुझे लगता है सबसे ज्यादा नीड है हमें आज जो प्रोडक्ट डिमांड में है या आज जिस प्रोडक्ट की डिमांड है हम उसे बनाएं, ना कि जो हमारी एस्पिरेशन है हम वो लेके जाएं मार्केट में। क्योंकि जैसा जयश्री ने भी बताया कि आज जो डिमांड है वो एंटायर चेंज हो चुकी है। प्री कोविड और आफ्टर कोविड में बड़ा चेंज आया है। फॉर एग्जांपल मैं आपको बताता हूं कि प्री कोविड हम लोग जो नॉर्मली यूनिट थी वो 2 BHK की यूनिट अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग में बना रहे थे मोस्टली, यानी 99% यूनिट 2 BHK बनती थी। लेकिन जब कोरोना टाइम हुआ तो हम लोगों ने अपने कस्टमर से फीडबैक लिया कि आपको क्या लगता है जो ये फ्लैट हमने बनाया इसमें हमें क्या कमी ऐसी दिखाई देती है आपको जो हमें आने वाले प्रोजेक्ट में जिन्हें हम अपडेट कर सकें, जो आपको लगा शायद अगर डेवलपर ये और बनाता तो शायद हमें और ज्यादा बेनिफिट होता या हमें और ज्यादा बढ़िया लगता। तो उन्होंने कहा कि जो वर्क फ्रॉम होम का जो कल्चर है वो आज इतना डेवलप है, और जब हम अपने घर में काम करते हैं तो कहीं जहां ड्राइंग रूम है या जो भी लिविंग रूम और जो बेडरूम है वहां ऑलरेडी कोई ना कोई सेटल है। अगर मैं वहां काम करता हूं तो आराम से नहीं कर पाता। अगर एक छोटा रूम अगर और घर में हो तो शायद मैं वर्क फ्रॉम होम को इजीली कर पाऊंगा। तो हम जब नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट जब हमने लॉन्च किया तो आप मानिए कि हमने उसमें यही डिजाइन किया कि हमें वो 2.5 BHK बनाना है, ना कि 2 BHK को फिर रिपीट करना है। क्योंकि मेरा कस्टमर मुझे ये कह रहा है कि अगर आप नहीं बनाएंगे कोई और डेवलपर बनाएगा तो जो मैं आज आपके पास हूं किसी और के पास जाऊंगा। दूसरी बात, जो कोरोना से पहले और कोरोना के बीच में बहुत सारे वेबिनार हुए, राजन भाई ने बहुत सारे वेबिनार अटेंड हम लोगों को कराए और बहुत सारी चीजें लोगों की हमें सुनने को मिली कि जो रियल एस्टेट मार्केट है वो बिल्कुल ऑलमोस्ट अबाउट टू फिनिश। शायद आने वाले टाइम में जब मार्केट खुलेगी तो 10-10, 20-20% प्राइस जो है वो एकदम क्रैश हो चुके होंगे और कोई बायर नहीं होगा और लोगों की जॉब ही नहीं है तो लोग लेंगे कैसे। और ये अप्रीहेंशन हमें भी था, क्योंकि हमें भी लग रहा था कि इतनी बड़ी इन्वेंट्री आपके पास, लोग इसे बुक कर चुके हैं, लेकिन शायद पेमेंट देंगे या नहीं देंगे। तो चैतन्य बिल्कुल अपोजिट व्यू उसके सामने निकला। जुलाई मंथ में हमने लोगों को लगभग 4000 यूनिट अलॉट की है और लगभग 2500 यूनिट हमने नई सेल की है, जो बिफोर कोविड भी नहीं था। लेकिन इतना जरूर किया है कि जो कस्टमर की नीड थी, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर वो फिजिकली नहीं आ सकता तो कोशिश की है कि जो वर्चुअल टूर्स हैं उनको कैसे कराए जाएं, उनकी बिल्डिंग की एक्चुअल सिचुएशन उन तक कैसे दिखाई जाए, उनके जो प्रोजेक्ट ऑलरेडी अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन है वो रियल में उसे देख पाएं, यानी वर्चुअली देख पाएं, वो कैसे हम उससे लिंक्ड रहें। जो टीम है बजाय किसी फियर के उनसे डायरेक्ट लिंक में रही कि आप बताइए आपको अगर विजिट करना है फिजिकली तो हम उसके लिए प्लान करें, अदरवाइज हम आपको वर्चुअल टूर कराते हैं। तो ये सारी चीजें बिल्कुल एंटायर बिफोर कोविड और आफ्टर कोविड में बदली हैं और नेचुरली हमें टाइम के साथ चेंज होना पड़ेगा। आज जो बॉटम ऑफ द पिरामिड है, डिमांड वहां पर है और जितने डेवलपर्स हैं, इवन मैं बहुत अगर फ्रैंक कहूं तो 95% ऑफ द डेवलपर ऑफ इंडिया वो उस 5% के लिए काम कर रहे हैं जो यानी जो कन्वेंशनल वो करते रहे हैं पिछले 10 साल से। मुझे लगता है कि 2020 से जो 30 साल का जो अगले 2020 से 30 के जो 10 साल है ये टोटली अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग बेस्ड होगा और जो एंट्री लेवल मिड जो MIG सेगमेंट है उसको ज्यादा कैटर करें लोग, तो मुझे लगता है वहां पे डिमांड ज्यादा जनरेट होगी। क्योंकि जो अंडरटोन है वो बिल्कुल क्लियर है, क्योंकि जो गवर्नमेंट है वो बहुत सपोर्ट कर रही है। होम लोन ऑलमोस्ट 10 साल के लोअर पे चल रहे हैं, प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के अंतर्गत और ज्यादा लोगों को बेनिफिट दिया जा रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है ऐसे टाइम में जितने भी डेवलपर हैं उस माइंडसेट को चेंज करके कि मैंने अभी तक 5 स्टार होटल का काम किया था, हाउ इज इट पॉसिबल कि मैं अपना ढाबा खोलूं, लेकिन मैं बिजनेसमैन हूं, मुझे आज मेरी ढाबे की नीड है, मुझे खोलना पड़ेगा। मैं क्या था मेरे लिए फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा, मुझे आज मेरा कस्टमर अगर 25 लाख या 50 लाख की यूनिट मांगता है तो मुझे वही बनानी है। मैं अगर 1 करोड़ की यूनिट बना रहा हूं और वो बिक नहीं रही है तो मेरे लिए कोई मीनिंग नहीं उन यूनिट्स को बनाने का। मुझे लगता है कि जितने भी डेवलपर्स हैं, मैं काफी टाइम से पिछले 3-4 साल से ये कहता रहा हूं कि जो आने वाला टाइम है वो अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग का है, और जो हमारे जो प्रेसिडेंट है वो तो बहुत ज्यादा इसके पक्षधर रहे कि बिल्कुल अगर जो भी डेवलपर अगर अपने आप को मूव करेंगे अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग की तरफ, क्योंकि ये इतनी बड़ी डिमांड है कि मेरी जैसी 1000 कंपनियां भी इंडिया के अंदर लग जाएं तो मुझे लगता है शायद ये डिमांड पूरी नहीं होने वाली है। क्योंकि अभी तक लोगों को ये फेथ नहीं हो पा रहा कि जो अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन हम फ्लैट खरीदेंगे उनकी डिलीवरी हम दे पाएंगे या नहीं दे पाएंगे। मुझे लगता है ये जो ट्रस्ट डेवलप करना है ये बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, क्योंकि पिछले 5 साल में ये जो ट्रस्ट है ये काफी ज्यादा डेफिशिएंट हुआ है। इस ट्रस्ट को डेवलप करना बहुत जरूरी है और जो कंज्यूमर की डिमांड है उस कंज्यूमर की डिमांड के हिसाब से प्रोडक्ट को बनाना बहुत जरूरी है। और दूसरा क्वालिटी, यानी अगर हम प्राइस को कम कर रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब क्वालिटी कॉम्प्रोमाइज ना करें, वो हमारा बेस होना चाहिए। जैसे हम जब बड़े घर बनाते थे तो क्वालिटी को मेंटेन रखते थे, जैसे जयश्री ने कहा कि लोग एमिनिटीज को देख रहे हैं। आज मैं अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग में काम कर रहा हूं, गुरुग्राम जैसे एरिया में 25 लाख रुपए में यूनिट दे रहा हूं, लेकिन जो गवर्नमेंट है उसकी तरफ से कोई कंपल्शन नहीं है कि मैं कोई एमिनिटीज वहां पे पर्टिकुलर दूं, लेकिन मुझे अपने कस्टमर को सर्व करना है। एक एक प्रोजेक्ट में मैंने ट्राई किया है कि 15-15 एमिनिटीज उनको अंदर दी जाएं, जबकि मेरी कोई कंपल्शन नहीं है, लेकिन क्योंकि अल्टीमेट मेरे कस्टमर को अगले 50 साल वहां रहना है, अगर मैं उन फ्लैट्स के अंदर जाके रह सकता हूं तभी मैं उन प्रोजेक्ट को बनाऊं, अदरवाइज मुझे नहीं लगता कि मुझे वो बनाने की जरूरत है। आने वाला टाइम मुझे लगता है अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग का, क्योंकि मैं अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग कर रहा हूं। तो मुझे लगता है कि जितने भी डेवलपर्स हैं उनसे मेरी फिर से रिक्वेस्ट है कि वो अपनी टीम के साथ बैठें, डिस्कस करें कि हम कैसे काम कर सकते हैं। बड़ा मुश्किल होता है जब टेबल पे बैठ के अंदर डिस्कस करते हैं कि सर होगा कैसे, नहीं, यही आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स जाके थिंकिंग करनी पड़ेगी। शायद मुझे लगता है कोई ना कोई रास्ता जरूर निकलेगा। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू प्रदीप जी, आई थिंक वेरी वेल सेड, एंड आई थिंक आपका पैशन बहुत क्लियर है कि आई थिंक एंड योर विजन दैट अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग इज द नेक्स्ट बिग थिंग इन दिस इंडस्ट्री। आई विल कम टू गौरव जी, 2 थिंग्स ऑन दिस। वन, जो प्रदीप जी ने बोला कि इन टर्म्स ऑफ अफोर्डेबल इज नेक्स्ट 10 years डिमांड, उसमें एक तरीके से customer की बात करी, उनकी needs की बात करी. How do you see the changing customer need and need of the market research in this kind of environment? Second, how do you see the balance between owning a house versus renting a house? And how does the role of trust comes into play in all these things? So if you can just throw some light on that.
See, Chaitanya, it's a very interesting argument we are all getting into in terms of trying to understand where is that fish. We all are having a nets into the water, but how many fishes are there to actually catch? And who's the lucky one who can catch them? Now it's not about the expertise. So I think, let me start from the market research. I think we need to make our ponds a little bigger and have more fish so that all of our expert fishermen can actually, earn a living. More importantly, I think what's happening is purely from a post-COVID consumer, let's say behavior changes. And this is my understanding working in the NCR market. Today, consumer is looking at something truly new in terms of the offering. For example, what Pradeepji said, he wants an extra room. Sometime back, Jayashree said he wants more amenities. How do you provide that is a larger issue, because I am stuck with some of the projects which are under construction. So there are actually two baskets. A, under construction projects which are, unfortunately, I can't change them because I need 66% of the consent on the older consumers to change anything. B, the new launching which I can do. In this market, also what is happening is that there is a very high propensity of change towards the plotted development right now. People are trying to say that I will go to a plotted development. I don't want to live in a flat. 6 to a core, 3 lifts. I'm touching everybody all the time. Maids are going in and out. So there is a very high quality of consumer shift in terms of his preferences to a, we call it low-rise floors, like Pradeepji is building, ground plus 3, ground plus 4, or to a simple plot where he can actually build his own villa, or he can do we call it a modular construction. He can build 1 floor today and extra floors over a period of time. Now, also what is happening is he is also not having any problem in moving out. He doesn't want to stay in a congested areas anymore now. For him, what was a Delhi hardcore areas, expensive areas, Gurgaon core areas, he is now willing to shift to outer cities like, Sona for that matter. He is willing to go to Sonipat for that matter. He is willing to go to Bahadurgarh for that matter. So depending upon the affordability and the, I would say, his understanding of what is product requirements, he is also willing to fan out. Infrastructure is playing a very major role in the NCR area. I would say all major developments in terms of, metro rails, RRTS, the highway expansions, KMP and KGB being in place has made the entire city livable. You can actually travel for the same 45 minutes. And I can see price deltas falling from, let's say, 100 to 15 if you travel only 45 minutes away. A 4 lakh rupees per square yard property in Rohini, Pitampura can take you to 40,000 rupees a square yard, just 45 minutes to 30 minutes away in places like Sonipat and Kudli. And similarly, it happens in Gurgaon versus Sona. My 2 lakh rupees become 40,000 again in the similar areas. So travel and good infrastructure has played a very key role. And I think it has got somehow dovetailed and coupled with post-COVID, though it has nothing to do with COVID. Government was anyway doing their job. But I think the consumer preferences have made them eager buyer in areas which are far away, which was not the case earlier. Coming back to the core point once again, the issue still remains how I am able to flexibly change my product based on the market requirements. So I think this is where we need some major help from the government, because mid-course correction after launching a project, which is life of at least 3 to 5 years, is something which is now a given point. It is not something which is, I can live with the fact that I've started making one thing today and the same product mix will continue for next 3 to 5 years. I think there are multiple changes in the consumer behavior, which we have to be cognizant of. And somehow the authorities have to let us have that flexibility that if I do a mid-course changes but not changing the basic parameters of density, FSI, and the ground coverage, I should be able to tweak my product mix without having to take the recourse of consumers, confirmation, going to the public, to say that 60% consumer have to give me the consent. I think that's a very, very important point, and which unless we get this, noose off our neck, the flexibility of the product change from the current existing projects, which I think is a larger inventory which we all have to worry about. There are millions of apartments all over the country. New ones, I think we all have learned our lessons. I think we know how to make a couple of phases in a single project, but there are enough large developments in Noida, in Gurgaon, which are suffering because what is being built is not getting sold, and what is getting sold can't be remodified to the areas, which we have to do. So I think I request the Office of the President as well as the Director General of NAREDCO to see that if this can be taken up, that we have to get this news off our necks for the time being. So these are my understanding, and this is my takeaway for the time being. Thank you.
Thanks, Gauravji. Let me bring in Dharmesh here. Dharmesh, I think one thing which is extremely important in today's market is brand. And the trust deficit, with Pradeep and Gaurav also talked about. How important you see is the role of brand in today's market to create a demand pull? And what would be your suggestions in terms of what the young and emerging developers can actually think of doing to look at reimagining their brand strategy or brand ethos to align with the changing consumer preferences to actually capitalize on that demand?
Thank you, Chaitanya. Thank you. Hi. Are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks. It's a pleasure to be part of this panel. I think it's $1 million question today: how to sell and how to sell faster. So a lot of brainstorming has happened across webinars. A lot of discussion has happened. But as you rightly mentioned, that there are a couple of things which is the industry is changing very fast. The consumer behavior is changing very fast. What should a developer do to ensure that the sales velocity, cash flow is in a right position or in a correct target? So here, what you were mentioning, and I was listening to Jayashree ji and Pradeep ji also, couple of things which is very, very important. One is obviously the branded developers. Today, because of this branded developers, there are a couple of tick box which customer makes when he interacts with a branded developer or a corporate houses or a national players. One is there is always a trust associated with it. Once the customer feels that one is trading with or he's interacting with the branded developers, there is always a trust element is there. There is no foul play. Whatever the builder is showing in his cost sheet or in his brochures or in his website, everything is transparent, everything as per the RERA standards. Also, when he deals with the branded developers, we at our Puravankara, we have ensured that his customer journey is in a very smooth cycle. It's entirely on a digital front. So from the day we generate leads to the day we hand over the houses to them, the entire journey is digital, so that the customer process, the majority of a brand hindrance or the majority of the issue in a real estate is in a customer journey. So it is for us to ensure that the customer has been treated well. The procurement of customer is very easy, but then the entire journey of customer needs to be handled well, and there is where the brand differentiation comes. And most importantly, when Jayashree was also mentioning, with the branded developers, there is always a thought process or the research gone when they develop their product, when they design their product. So I can say that we are 43 years young corporate brand. So today also, when we design our product, as Jayashree also mentioned, we are the first one to introduce the air filtration tower. We were the one which introduced something, water which can be drink directly from the tap. These are small innovation, but today we feel that as a branded developers, we innovate more on our product development, because today's consumer is well traveled. He understands the business well. He understands the product well. He wants a value for benefit, a value for money. So in that scenario, as a developer, we have to invest more on product, because I'm saying on a generic umbrella of a brand, wherein because the product differentiation also plays very, very important role. Today, amenities, today, all other hygiene factors, everything is given. But obviously, are we adding up a home automation? Are we adding up a proper layout so there is an extra space available for an office space? are we ensuring that all the hygiene factors apart from amenities are there in the product? So all this as a corporate brand, we have started doing I think 3 to 6 months of our market research before we go out and design the product. I can say before we go out and launch the product, but before 3 to 6 months before we design the product, that this is the location, this is my consumer set target, what do I want to make? Do I want to go with the affordable? Do I want to go with the mid-premium? Do I go with the plots, villa, row houses? Because today, as all of us mentioned, the consumer behavior is changing completely. And this is a dynamic world. It is going to get changed. So we all have to be ready for these changes, and we have to design ourselves, tune ourselves accordingly. So that research plays a very, very important role. One of the example I can say, when a consumer visits our sales gallery, I think this has given us a good result. So it's better I share it with all of us. Is that we open up the entire construction process for the customer. So we show them how we build your houses, and that is in a detailing where how the flooring has been done, how the railing has been done, how we do a coloring, how we do a paint. So all that in a very detailed manner. Apart from a show flat, we have a construction museum, what we call as a construction museum, wherein customers visit us and understand the building process or how we build their houses in much more detail. So all this in today's world has added up the advantage to the product, and this is helping as us to make a more innovative brand. And as you rightly mentioned today, the market is huge. You know, the demand is still there. And if a right branded developer, a national footprint developer makes a right product at the right ticket size and with a lot of innovation into it, I think we all are very buoyant about the market. I think there is always a takers are there. Last 3 months we have seen post-COVID, there is a uptake in a demand. We have seen there's a demand which is there in larger houses. There is a demand in fact, villa segment also. We have seen a demand in a plotted development also. And obviously 2.5, 3.5 BHK is always a good selling inventory. So as a branded developer, we innovate more on product. And I think that is the way forward for the people who want to get the customer faster, get the sales velocity quicker. Because until unless we all don't focus on product, in today's world, I think it is very difficult to get the sales velocity, which we used to get 10 years or 7 years or 8 years back. So I think that's all. I'm very excited about real estate market today. There is a huge demand. I was just reading somewhere that 60-65% of consumer buys a branded product. He prefers to buy a branded product. So today, corporate houses, branded players have a great future. So thanks, Chaitanya. I think we should all innovate. There's a great future for real estate industry, and all of us are very buoyant. And the market is always going to get bounced back, and we should be ready for that.
Thanks, Dharmesh. And I think what you said, right, is product and innovation is extremely important. And one thing which you touched upon slightly, which I'll probably invite Ashok Mohanani ji to talk about, the role of transparency in this entire thing, which actually creates a lot of the brand positioning in the market, and actually the trust deficit gets improved much through levels of transparency. How do you see a role of transparency and a strong brand really help bridge that trust deficit with the consumers? Any thoughts on that, Ashok?
Yeah, so I personally believe, and I second what Dharmesh just said, that brand creativity is the new currency in which the idea is that, the brand stands for will be communicated. So one cannot just, take this thing very lightly. Times have come when one has to realize, what the customer is, what his basic needs are, how one can live, how one can be empathetic towards the customer, and then design the product. Markets survey, we all are be doing it, okay? But how much are we actually looking at the customer, his needs, how empathetic are we towards him is actually what is going to be the real key now. So it's not about your product, okay? I feel that It's about how one can make the world a better place is what is very important today. And this will, differentiate the men and the boys. And it'll be the men who understand the depth of each customer. They will, they will survive, and they will take this industry to a new paradigm altogether.
Okay. Thank you, Ashokji. Let me come to Ravi. Ravi and Ramesh both. I'll start with Ravi first. Ravi, we have seen Maharashtra cutting the stamp duty and for a specified period of time. How do you see that kind of a method for a demand generation, and what's your outlook for the festive season ahead? And how do you see, or what time frame you see that we will be able to hit back the pre-COVID levels?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Chaitanya, very interesting, in fact, question with regards to the stamp duty reduction which the Maharashtra government has done. And I think it's a great initiative by them. And right from the day one itself, we started seeing a lot of traction coming in, people inquiring about the same. But before I get into that, I think let's take a step back and really see how things have emerged in the last couple of months. Where is the first month of March, April, so to say, we really saw what exactly do we intend to do. In fact, in the consumer front or from the developer front, everybody was really sitting back at home and really did not know what to do. And slowly and steadily, the entire digital transformation of communicating and conveying that how important your own home is today, because that's the confinement you're staying in, and you really have understood that that's the most secure place which you rightly want to stay there with your family members, so that you're absolutely safe in terms of the pandemic which is going around. And over a period of time, I think that feeling of security really started getting into a stage of an actual need, so to say. As Niranjan sir said कि रोटी कपड़ा मकान हमेशा से इंसान की जरूरत रही है, और वो मकान कहीं ना कहीं I think last के 2-3 सालों में थोड़ा पिछड़ गया था, wherein there were multiple options in which a person could actually come and stay or use a home to stay. And now what we see is the home buying overall sentiment has gone to a level wherein he really wants his own home, because he's seen in the last 4 to 5 months how secured his own home is to him. And with the measures that the developers have taken, and with the digital shift which is happening in terms of a consumer consuming the information online and through various digital mediums, it has now come to a stage wherein the kind of inquiries and the kind of leads that we were getting pre-COVID, or rather I would say in the midst of 2 months of the COVID, when the entire pandemic just started, has actually come back to the same trends. So starting, I think, June, July, mid onwards, we actually started seeing a lot of leads coming back to the same trends which we could see pre-COVID times as well. Of course, the overall journey of customers coming to the site, that touch and feel of an Indian consumer is still there. So obviously you have to control that entire thing and manage that in a staggered manner. So what we've seen is over a period of last 1.5 months, people are coming back now. People are wanting to explore more, know more, and people who were fence sitters, so to say, are now taking the advantage of this stamp duty reduction, which has happened. And of course, a lot of consumers that we had seen, their entire mindset has changed. I'll give you an example. A couple who used to stay in say Thane, used to work in Andheri with an IT company. So they used to travel frequently. So they said, okay, why should I stay in Thane? Let me go to Andheri and lease out an apartment. And they used to pay through their nose for that lease, because I'm sure a 2-bed apartment in a decent locality with a good amenities and all that would cost you a bomb. Eventually, when the entire work culture began, they actually decided to come back to Thane. They had a 1 BHK. They upgraded into a 3 BHK because the wife needs a room, the husband needs a room, the kids now need a room. And so they've come back and they've bought a 3 BHK now. So this is a paradigm shift that we are seeing in the consumer behavior today, because he wants to upgrade his lifestyle. He wants to be in his own home. He wants to be in a secured and a confined environment where he is protected from all the unnecessarily frills around him. So I think I see a major shift happening in the consumer behavior, especially in the sub 1 crore ticket size, what we've really seen. So I would second what Pradeep ji also said to begin with, that segment really today is feeling the need of their own home. So they really want to come back, they want to stay in their own homes, they want a secured life. Because मतलब बाकी सब चीजें ठीक है, मेरे को अपना घर चाहिए ही चाहिए. So मैं अगर one bed में रहता था, if I can even stretch and afford, like the interest rates which have actually come down, that also has really helped them to really take that decision, to take that home loan and take that plunge finally. So people were in that yes, no, karu, nahi karu. Last ke 1.5 saal ke andar mein that dilemma was there in their minds. So today, I think the situation and the circumstances have compelled the consumer today to really take that plunge and boss, bhai to mero ghar kharidna hi padega, come what may, because this is the basic need today. Well, I can still order food from outside. I can still order kapda from Amazon. But home kahan se order karunga main? Meko to wahan jana padega. So I think that paradigm shift has really changed. We have seen that happening online. We have seen the technology in which people are consuming the entire site. We've created drone shoots. We have created sample flat videos. We've created so much of digital content, which really the guy is consuming today, sitting at home, which is basically giving him a complete confidence of, boss, if I'll go here, I have to just go and buy. So today my conversion ratios have also gone up substantially because he's now coming with a preconceived notion of mind. He's not coming to do window shopping anymore. So I think the measures that developers have taken, the measures which the digital transformation has given the developers to really reach out to the last mile buyer has seen a phenomenal shift. And I see this only growing from here to the next level altogether, Chaitanya.
Thanks, Ravi. Extremely insightful. And a few points which you made so relevant. I clearly see the conversion rate actually has improved 40 to 50% and even double for some of the developers in micro markets. Right. Absolutely serious that the far more serious buyers in the market today. And that's really making an impact. I'll touch upon what one more point which Ravi said and bring that point to Ramesh. You talked about it's a need for person to feel. So I assume that कि बिना देखे तो आज customer घर नहीं खरीदेगा. So do you see, Ramesh, a trend in terms of probably, let's say it required 3.5 average site visits for a conversion? Do we expect that to kind of come down on a consistent basis? And if that's true, how do you bridge that entire gap of whatever virtual visits are there in either customer engagement medium?
Okay, so basically, if you see overall situation today, so let me say how the sales have been progressing post-COVID. So post-COVID, what I could see during the pre-COVID era, already real estate as an industry has faced challenges like demonetization, RERA, GST. Just before pre-COVID, you could see that the overall GDP was at about 4.5%. You know, so the economy was struggling at even that point in time. Now, during the COVID period, what we are seeing in the first quarter, we have seen a drastic dip in sales, which you are aware of. Everyone knows the numbers also. There has been about 30 to 40% dip in sales in the first quarter as compared to last year. And the second quarter, you could see gradual increase in sales happening as the economy is opening up. As the economic ease down is happening, a lot of people are venturing out and trying to explore, to see and visit the sites and take, buying decision. So we will see a lot of improvements in quarter 3 and quarter 4 as well, as the economic activity eases down. Okay, and the most importantly, coming back to the site visits, which you're saying, is that it depends on the ticket size. You know, if you see an affordable segment, it's a 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs affordable segment. There, the number of any consumer doesn't visit more than twice. So at least there is a touch and feel which is required to be done before he takes a decision. On an affordable segment, we have a segment which is the low income group. That's where the online transactions are happening on a larger scale. At the 40 and 50 lakhs category, the product size, there is a touch and feel which is required to an extent. So 40 and 50 lakhs category, some part of it, there is a mixed situation. There is some part of it going into the online bucket of sales, and some part of it, they require a touch and feel. So there are 1 or 2 visits which takes place for the final conversion. So I don't think that, and if we look at the mid segment, which is the premium segment, Definitely, it is not going to happen online for the near future, at least. As you're seeing that, for a 2 crore kind of a product, no consumer is going to come and just do it online. He is going to have a touch and feel. The conversion ratios will improve only when there is a touch and feel for a 2 crore plus product category in the mid segment levels. So therefore, in the future, don't see much changes that, okay, everything will get into online. There has to be offline sales, which is going to continue, especially for the higher ticket ranges.
Okay, got it, Ramesh. Let me come to Vikas. Vikas and Hemant, I've been holding you for a bit now. Vikas, a question from you. I talked about in my earlier narrative that last 6 months, a lot of NRI sales happened for quite a few developers and significantly high percentage numbers being talked about. 2-3 questions. One, do you see that a segment sustainable enough on a long-term basis? Second, for the developers who have not tapped that kind of a segment, what would be your advice in terms of how they can kind of tap that kind of a segment? And the third bit, what is that NRIs are really looking for? What is their consideration of parameters which they really would want to assess and evaluate while they make a purchase?
Thank you, Chaitanya. You are absolutely right. If you look at last 6 months, and generally NRI is about 15-20% contributor to real estate business. At least I can talk about MMR region. And largely it is in 2 extreme segments. One is the sub 50 lakh segment, or it is in 5 crore plus segment, where there is a very strong participation always. But even then it is always 15-20% range. So when you talk about percentages, actually, yeah, it has been seen that 30-35% contribution has come in last 6 months, but that is also a function because domestic sales tanked during that period. Okay, so it held itself. Now, why did it held itself at the levels at which it was in the normal times or closer to that? Partly because I think somebody mentioned in the beginning that the need to have their base, is becoming even more important. Markets like Middle East, where you never become a resident. You never become a resident, whether you work for 20 years, 25 years, 50 years. I have been a resident there for almost 12 years. So you are always searching, where will you settle down? And when something like this happened, wherever you were stuck. So I know a lot of friends who got stuck in Dubai, family was in India, or they were stuck in India and family was in Dubai. They couldn't travel. So that's when suddenly the need to have the base kicked in. So that was the first trigger. We also saw, while the investor is out of the market right now, but we also saw when you bring in something suitable from an investment perspective, which is intuitive to decide, we could see 100% transactions actually happening online. And large participation from NRIs. So my advice largely is that, the biggest question that I think developers face today is that how do you reach out to this diaspora? And that is the question. Once you have reached out, how do you assure that the decision that they are going to make remotely is the right decision? I think those are the 2 factors if you are able to address. So reach out. That's first premise to take your product to your consumer. And then second, convince, which means your marketing becomes really important. I have seen a lot of conferences, exhibitions happen. The language which is spoken to the NRI diaspora is almost the same that you are speaking to someone in your own city. How would it connect to somebody who's sitting in Seattle and, looking at you? And he would, of course, want to compare, can he invest in Seattle or should he buy in Mumbai? So it's a discretionary call. So you need to start speaking that language of the consumer that they understand. There was a lot of discussion about product, and I definitely understand it's a very big pillar of the overall strategy. But let's agree, at the end you can't change much of your product. As an organization, we interact with the industry continuously. One thing that we come across right now, as we embark on post-lockdown period, is that there is one discussion about the upcoming plot or upcoming land parcel or upcoming phase 2 of a project where there's definitely an agenda of understanding what sort of product can be created. And that includes for NRI markets as well. But the question of what is going to happen to my existing product, okay, is a very large question. And as Gauravji said, the flexibility isn't there. So while yes, all the NAREDCO family should work on, figuring it out from the authorities' perspective. What I can talk about is that eventually that product is not going anywhere. So what we try to look at is, while we work on one side through our research, superior understanding of micro markets, as well as consumer, that how do you bring in new mix or new opportunities in your new phases. And I think Pradeep ji has that luxury that he is able to quickly adapt to those needs quickly, because that's how that category is, that you can pivot very quickly. But Mumbai has this challenge that, a lot of these products are, and most of the metros have this challenge, that how would you take care of the existing product that exists, which is midway and has seen maybe 30-40% of the sales, and now is really seeing the challenge. And what I realized there is that there are two things which become very important. Number one, do you really know who you want to sell it to? Who should it be sold to? And that needs to be defined, absolutely. And secondly, are you communicating to the right customer? Is your media right? Is your mix of communication is absolutely tapping into that sort of TG? And second part of that, besides product, and this is your own talent pool, is your own sales and marketing management. Are they confident? Have you assured them really that they can really look into the eye of the customer and say, I believe this is the right choice to make, you should buy. So the technology is evolving right now. I think digital allowed us to do tremendous business, not just outside India, but outside the cities of MMR region also, outside Maharashtra, when we were able to bring in a suitable investment proposition also. But I would say eventually for a normal real estate buying, which is there, which is a very immersive decision making. It requires a lot of immersion. Digital is just a medium. It is another medium which is evolving. And while everybody will participate in it, but only those who will be able to use this medium and adapt their strategies, communication strategies, and develop right content to be able to talk to customer properly will only take advantage from it. And it is exactly like an ad in Times of India or an outdoor advertising. Some connect, some don't, but all spend money, all follow the same way. But unless you really know what you need to be speaking and to whom you need to be speaking and when and where you need to be speaking, this is another medium which can be wasted also. So that is my 2-bit right now on your question.
No, absolutely, because I think very interesting. Couple of key takeaways I can clearly see. One, knowing your customer is of utmost importance. Unless you really don't know where you're firing, what you're doing, and the investments can go down and drain. So that's one thing. And second important point, you talk about digital. While it is a medium, what you make out of it is extremely, extremely important. It can actually be a very productive and profitable investment, or otherwise it can become a suboptimal investment. Excellent points, Vikas. Just taking the point that you raised, Vikas, on knowing your customer, I'll go to Hemant. Obviously with the pandemic, given from a financial institution background perspective, it'd be a very interesting perspective for us to understand. You would have gone through thousands of customer interactions or applications in the recent times. What change you are finding when you're saying know your customer? What change have you found, or there is none? From a pre-COVID to a COVID era, are they changing demographics? Are they changing preferences? Are they changing requirements? Anything which you're finding a change in the customer, or it's more or less the same? It has gone up, gone down. Any thoughts, Hemant, around that?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So Chaitanya, yes, you are right when you say that, when you ask that question, whether there has been any perceptible change. There definitely has been some perceptible change in the way customers have approached, home buying, the way we look at it as a lender and as a financial institution. I'm sure you would have seen that as well. What is interesting is that, I was listening very intently to all my fellow panelists, and they were saying that, there has been right now a marked shift in terms of people wanting to buy houses, and the need for a house is so strong. In fact, as a lender, I would like to say that probably we saw it much earlier. Even when we went down into the lockdown, we also, like everybody else, had a little bit of a feeling of despondency that, oh my God, where everything is going to shut now. What is going to happen to us? Real estate, are people actually going to buy houses right now after being in such a situation? But we ourselves were caught off guard and unawares when we still saw the behavior of customers towards housing loans. And we were so surprised because the housing loan applications kept pouring in, even right through the months of obviously April would have been a washout for everyone, but even right from May and June, we saw so many people, even though they were sitting at home, they was interested in and I must add that we were fortunate to quickly adopt to the digital system. We had a very decent infrastructure in place, which we pulled up very quickly and made it available for people. And we were so surprised that people kept looking at applying for housing loans, even though everybody felt that, look, probably buying a house would be the last thing on anybody's mind. So we felt very positively overwhelmed and surprised and happy that people are still looking at buying houses. So they might not obviously be ready at that, were not ready at that point in time to go and visit properties or visit property sites. But the interest, the innate need to buy a house, according to us, never died down. So it was there, it was alive and kicking. And I think the entire need, as everybody said, the entire, the experience of the pandemic and the overwhelming need that to have a house and have a shelter on one's head it has never been so good. And therefore we felt that, this is something which will be there for the long haul. So right now also we've seen an immense interest in people coming in to look for finance to buy houses. As you rightly said, there are people looking in for larger apartments, wanting to have a small office of theirs in their home, perhaps a place for their schooling at home, or so such kind of needs we've seen. As far as behavior in terms of the the kind of products that they are looking out for, what we see, we also meet a lot of customers like you do in our branches. So we've seen a lot of interest in ready to move in apartments which are close to completion. Yes, for the time being, I guess there will be some apprehension on under construction apartments. I'm sure that will also come up to speed, and probably that trust and that confidence will be gained as we see apartments getting completed and delivered. But definitely we've seen a shift in terms of, and a positive shift at that. There is no apprehension. There is definitely a feeling of optimism, and we feel that, and we also see that in the numbers that we are racking up every month. Like for the month of July, in fact, we were almost about 60 to 65% of our numbers, of our normal pre-COVID numbers. In the month of August, we touched about 86 to 87%. We hope to reach 100% of our numbers in the month of September. So that's how good that we feel about the whole thing. We were hoping, and in fact, our management has also been saying that we would probably hope and happy to be back to normal in the fourth quarter of this financial year. But I think that's going to happen a lot, much earlier. So that's something which we are very, very happy and optimistic about. So I don't know, it's had such a positive effect that I think probably real estate and housing finance is going to be one of the most positively affected sectors by the whole pandemic, notwithstanding the pain that it has caused all of us at a different level, at a social level, at a health level. But I think, if you may call it, it is one of the positive effects of, what the entire thing has been there. It's unfortunate that we had to go through this, the whole world had to go through this. But the feeling of security is is so much more, and I think it's the highest. It's probably at the highest level that I would want to have a house of my own. I would like to have a shelter of my own, maybe living in a community rather than in an independent apartment, larger apartments, as everybody has rightly shared. So I think we see that, and very, very evident behavior amongst our customers as well.
Fantastic, Hemant. I think extremely heartening to hear 85% pre-COVID levels already hit, and expecting to reach the pre-COVID levels very soon. It's a very heartening news to hear, and kind of resonates very well in terms of what the panelists have been talking about. Pradeep, I'll come back to you. So we talked about digital quite a lot, and almost every panelist did mention about it. In affordable housing perspective, how you see the role of digital, and most importantly, adoption of digital. मैं digital को भी दो part में बांटूंगा. One would be internal digital, which is for my internal employees, how I'm using digital for that effective or efficiency perspective, and digital for my front facing, for my customer interface perspective. If you can throw some light on that, Pradeep.
I think so. चैतन्य, इस पर रवि ने भी कहा, आज जो हमारा जो डेवलपर है उसको एक इन्वेस्टमेंट करना पड़ेगा अपनी टीम पर डिजिटलाइजेशन करने के लिए, क्योंकि आज टाइम के साथ ये चेंज भी बहुत बड़ा, यानी आज की डेट में रिक्वायर्ड हो गया कि अगर हमारी जो टीम है वो टेक सेवी नहीं बनी तो होगा क्या कि हम उस जो दौड़ है उसमें कहीं ना कहीं पीछे रहने वाले हैं. सेम चीज जब आप अपनी टीम को अपग्रेड करते हैं डिजिटली, तो आपका जो कस्टमर है वो साथ साथ नेचुरली बात है कि वो भी डिजिटली खुद ही होने लगता है. रीजन क्या है, जितनी भी चीजें हैं आप उसके साथ शेयर करते हैं. कि आज देखिए, जैसा धर्मेश ने भी कहा कि ट्रांसपेरेंट होना बहुत जरूरी है, और उसको कैसे बताएं कि हम ट्रांसपेरेंट हैं, हम ऑनेस्ट हैं, एग्री, लेकिन हम दिखें भी. तो दिखें कैसे? दिखने का तरीका है कि हम जो भी हमारा हम सॉफ्टवेयर के थ्रू या वर्चुअल या जो बिल्डिंग्स आज बन रही हैं, कैसे हम क्या क्या मटेरियल्स में लगाने वाले हैं. तो अगर वो फिजिकली वहां नहीं आ सकता जो कस्टमर है हमारा, तो हम उसे कैसे अपने प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू उसे विजिट कराएं और उसको ये एश्योर करें कि जितनी भी चीजें हम आपके लिए यहाँ बना रहे हैं वो अगर आप खुद भी बनाते इस घर को तो बिल्कुल ऐसा ही बनाते जैसा हम आपके लिए बना रहे हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि जो डिजिटल जो एक रेवोल्यूशन चल पड़ा है, ये आने वाले टाइम में हमें अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा. आने वाले टाइम में इसका एक बहुत बड़ा रोल है. इवन अभी इसका अगर पिछले 2-4 साल की बात करें तो स्टार्ट हुआ है, लेकिन अगर कोरोना के टाइम की बात करें तो सबसे ज्यादा जो एक मेन चीज हमने इसमें जो पाई है वो है वर्क फ्रॉम होम. अगर बिफोर कोरोना अगर हम बात करें तो वर्क फ्रॉम होम तो मैंने सुना ही पहली बार था कि ऐसा भी कोई काम हो सकता है कि पूरी टीम घर पे बैठी हो और आपका ऑफिस चल रहा हो. तो ये बहुत सारी चीजें टाइम अपने आप डिजाइन करता है, और ये चीज आज भी बिल्कुल परफेक्ट है कि जो आने वाला टाइम है हमारे कंज्यूमर को भी हमें अपने जो डिजिटल जो सिस्टम है उनके ऊपर लाना पड़ेगा और अपनी टीम को भी डिजिटल एडॉप्शन देनी पड़ेगी. और एक अच्छा पार्ट हमें अपना इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा अपनी टीम को इस चीज के लिए ट्रेन करने के लिए. मुझे लगता है एक बहुत बड़ा रोल आने वाले टाइम में मुझे नजर आता है. दूसरा, जो आज आप लीड मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम है वो पूरा का पूरा जो ड्राइव हो रहा है वो आप समझिए सोशल मीडिया का बहुत बड़ा रोल है, जहां आप लोगों के पास ये कहने के लिए पहुंचते हैं कि मेरे पास ये प्रोडक्ट है, इस प्रोडक्ट को क्या आप बाय करना चाहते हैं. देखिए, अभी जब डिस्कशन हो रहा था कि लोगों का जो माइंडसेट चेंज हुआ है घर खरीदने के लिए, अगर आप रेजीज की जो यील्ड कहें तो वो लगभग 2-3% के नियर अबाउट रहती है. तो लोगों का जो माइंडसेट क्या रहता था कि घर किराए का हो और अपनी जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है वो म्यूचुअल फंड से अदर देन जहां पे हायर रिटर्न्स हैं वहां हम उसे लगाएं. लेकिन ये एंटायरली चेंज हुआ है आफ्टर कोविड. लोगों को ये एक बार सिक्योरिटी चाहिए कि मेरा घर छोटा या बड़ा कैसा भी हो वो होना चाहिए. तो मुझे लगता है जो डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म है उसके थ्रू हम इनके पास पहुंचे हैं, या हम उनके पास पहुंचे और उनको समझाएं कि किस लिए जो घर है आपको ज्यादा जरूरी है. और मुझे लगता है इस चीज आने वाले टाइम में और ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचने में हमें मदद करेगी.
Oh, fantastic. I think Pradeep ji, I can only agree with what you said. Ki digital एक ऐसा medium हो गया है, which actually helps us increase our outreach and create that level of transparency and trust with our customers. And obviously with our internal employees, the entire efficiency gain. So I think absolutely I can only agree. And I also echo the same sentiment that the need for the developers to start thinking digital as not as an experiment, but as a true investment to drive the growth. I think it really brings a point home. Let me come to Dharmesh. Dharmesh, while we talked about a lot of areas, one probably area probably we didn't touch upon. How do you see a role of a channel which is referral and a corporate? Do you see referrals and corporate sales playing an integral part in this way? Do you see that is like a channel where the developer should invest in? Is there a different ROI or a cost of acquisition or a conversions are better or lower? Any thoughts around referrals, corporates? Any thoughts around that?
Obviously, Chaitanya, today real estate sales has become a multi-channel sales. It's not only digital, it's not only channel partner. I think the contribution from loyalty customers and a referral from the loyalty customers. This is two important pieces which both has to be treated separately. So a customer doing a repeat buying is obviously a big segment. It depends upon how much number of customers you have, what is your delivery track record, and how you have built your product. That gives you a loyalty repeat buying. And obviously a referral, how you capture that referral and how you incentivize the referral. So this two piece is very, very important. Apart from it, the third channel which you mentioned is corporate. So as I mentioned earlier, the real estate has become a multi-channel business. It's like an FMCG business. It's not now a normal real estate business. So when we invest as a marketer or as a sales guys, we put a target to each of this vertical. You know, when we have to target, suppose 1,000 crore from certain a quarter, then what will come from this, what will come from this, and then the backward integration happen on each of this vertical and what needs to be driven from this vertical. So both this vertical channel, loyalty, referral, and the third, if you say corporate, today in my mix, it is approximately in the range of 30 to 35%, apart from my other businesses. So apart from my other channels. So this is very, very important because once you build a legacy, I think loyalty and the referral should give you 30-35%. I think Mr. Hiranandani would have 40-45%, 50% of the repeat buying happening, and same for Pradeep ji also. So these two verticals we cannot miss out. And third is obviously a corporate, and corporate is something which has been inspired by what the bankers used to do as a corporate salary account and how they used to do an outreach in the corporates. So in a similar way, the real estate guys are also started interacting with the corporate tie-ups. So we have a corporate tie-ups with 101 corporates in across South India. So wherever the customer comes from this corporate, it's an automated system. They get 3% discount from the published rate. So this is something which is customized for individual corporates. There are tie-ups. There we get a road shows. There we get a virtual presentation to be done. So corporate is slowly emerging. But yeah, this is also obviously a one good direct reach for a developer. So as I mentioned earlier, we cannot now bank only on channel. And obviously the digital is one which is emerging one. So we have to be a multi-channel specialist when we want to do the sales. So all the verticals are equally important, Chaitanya.
No, absolutely. I think I completely agree with you. And I think very heartening to hear the numbers of 30 to 35% coming from referral and loyalty. I think it's a significant number. And basis my experience, this is one channel probably a lot of developers have not really invested into. And I think that's where the role of brand trust and focus on the customer can really make a significant difference. Just adding on to what Dharmesh said, I think when the cost of sales for referral and the conversion percentage and the kind of advocacy which you can create on the customer, so this channel can actually be a multiplier effect, if I may say so. Fantastic. Ravi, I'll come to you. I think with whatever discussion we are happening, right? We talked about digital, we talked about customer. One thing I want you to understand, any changes from a marketing mix you expect especially let's say a print OOH probably kind of vanished in the Q1. Digital came in far ahead. How do you see that entire pie of your marketing spend getting distributed in the near future and on a long-term basis? Any thoughts around that, Ravi?
So I think in the immediate scenario that we are currently seeing, we obviously are investing a lot and heavily on digital mediums to outreach our consumers, as well as we're also investing in developing a lot of digital content which can be consumed online. Having said that, I think apart from digital, of course, there is a limited exposure towards out of home plus print as well, but not to the extent which is used to be earlier. So I think that has seen a significant shift. Plus, I think what we're also doing, as Dharmesh touched upon, multiple channels, and I think the channel partner, the so-called broker that has always contributed to the business, I think we are also kind of investing in them. And of course, there's a typical conventional broker that we've always seen has been a part of our business, and plus a lot of institutional channel partners have also developed and grown over the period of years now. And in fact, we've seen a phenomenal growth coming in from the institutional channel partners into the business. Because of the simple fact that they are investing in their businesses, which was not the case earlier. They are investing in their business. They are investing in the right talent. They are investing in their own sourcing mediums, so to say. Of course, the typical broker will always stay. But what has happened in the last couple of months is what we have seen. The broker has basically shifted his focus from the primary market to the conventional resale and lease, so to say. So he's not focusing too much on the primary segment, so to say. I can actually see some sense of even consolidation happening at that front. And the institutional channel partners really playing a very, very important role. So I think that as a channel has also developed over a period of time. And I think it's high time really to invest with them together, as they are actually your extended sales arms. So I think with that, the focus obviously increases on the outreach, the kind of distribution network that you get, and of course your own direct organic business that you've seen. In fact, I would like to add the kind of organic growth also that we've seen over a period of time. And somebody touched upon the RTMI homes. So in fact, if you are a brand and if you've developed and demonstrated delivery, I think that also adds upon to the overall organic infusion of customers that really come to you. So I think it's a mix of most of these components, and which we have seen over the last couple of months, which are the channels which have really given the developer the kind of right impetus, wherein if he's put in that kind of investment in that channel, that has given that kind of a return. Of course, the conventional mediums of out of home and print have drastically come down. They will have to be obviously done from a hygiene perspective, is what I feel. But of course, the digital medium, the channel partner medium, the loyalty and the reference, I think all this will have a great composition, and the mix will really shift towards these segments or these sources, so to say, Chaitanya.
Perfect. I think Ravi, you echoed the same sentiment, Dharmesh. I think multi-channel is going to be the way to go. And you talked about a very important part, the channel partner ecosystem, which have actually helped us scale that outreach, and especially for the difficult products also, if I may say so, and difficult micro markets and difficult pricing. So I think that I agree with you, Ravi, on that. Let me come to Rajanji. I think we talked about ready to move in, Ravi talked about probably, and you also talked about delivery track record of the developer being also important. How do you see under construction projects? How can we kind of create demand for those kind of projects in the current market? Any thoughts on that, Rajanji? Rajanji, you're on mute. Okay, I think he's on some other call. So yeah, maybe I'll just put this to Vikas. Vikas, any thoughts around that? How do you see in the construction project? Because we clearly see ready to move in as probably one of the hotcakes in today's environment. And how do you look at under construction projects, kind of looking at the demand, that how can you generate demand and interest in those?
Chaitanya, did you ask anything?
Yeah, I was asking you the question on the under construction, your point of view in terms of how can we kind of drive demand in the under construction projects? Your point of view.
See, post-RERA, the confidence of the buyers are increasing day by day. See, today I will tell you, I don't mind telling it on this platform also, majority of the anchors or the experts who come and talk, they always suggest people to buy ready flats. My humble request and suggestion to each and every people, see, the ready stock was there. The ready stock is sold out. Now, if you are telling people to go and buy ready stock, the ready stock is not going to be available. And if people ask for ready stocks, the prices of ready stock would start increasing. And once again, what will happen? You all experts will start blaming the developers for increasing the prices. See, the prices, if developer could have had any opportunity to increase the prices, he could have increased the prices anytime. The prices increase or decrease, that is according to the demand and supply. So when there is a more of supply of ready product, automatically the prices will go down. And if you see in last 4 or 5 years, the new launches are very, very less. But thanks to the launches, whatever done in the past, because past the period was booming, so every Tom, Dick and Harry, you can name anyone pre-RERA, anyone who just in the night, before night, he slept and in the dream he thought of becoming a developer. So next day morning he told कि अरे यार चलो, तो he called up 2-3 estate consultants, brokers, experts, everybody came together. Sir, आप चिंता ही मत करो, आप सिर्फ पैसे लगाओ, हम सारा सेट करके दे देंगे. वो बेचारे को पता नहीं वो सेट हो गया उसके अंदर. So my simple suggestion is that, see, have some trust and faith in the developer. Yeah, of course, you might say the trust we have to develop. See, we are trying to develop that. It is not that. See, for example, our Pradeep Agarwal, he told that he has sold more flats and he opens the booking and next day it is sold out. So, see, for that, his price is very reasonable. The construction quality is good. And it has a proper marketing system. So, to be very honest, see, now the time is for under construction developer, and the developer also should see to it that they should price their product rightly. So, if your product is properly planned, you have got given, don't overcommit. Very, very important, because earlier what used to happen, the developer used to overcommit. And the buyer also was thinking कि नहीं, buyer was also alluring to the commitment of a developer. And then they used to tell कि नहीं, वो developer ने इतना सारा commitment किया और developer ने honor नहीं किया. So let's change our rules of the game. Let's not overcommit. Whatever you commit, see to it that you can honor it. So today the time is for under construction. And I will tell you, if you talk about, because our marketing is done by Xanadu. So I am not marketing Xanadu here, but I am just telling you the way they work here. So the way they are sold, it's simple, very simple. You have to upgrade your product, give best price, and do a proper advertising. See, these are the only 3 mantras. If anyone says any other mantra, no other mantra is going to work, because today the buyer in the e-governance time, social media time, the buyer has become very, very smart. And people like Jayashree and all other, they always keep on educating the buyers about what you should not be doing. So that is very, very important. Thanks to them, because see, the critics should be always there, because if they tell, because if some developer is not doing proper work, 100% he should be spanked. It should be spanked by even the association as well as the media and whoever are the persons. So automatically 1 or 2 black ships would be there. They would be out of the market. So automatically the people who are doing good work and good business, they would be respected.
Got it.
Thank you.
Fundamentally,
I think Jayashree wants to talk something.
Can I step in here and just add to what Rajan said?
Go on, Jayashree. Go on, Jayashree.
You know, ready to move in or under construction, it's not something that we can impose on the consumer. It depends on the consumer's need and the state of the market. So if I'll give you an example of what happened. One of the developers, when this extra period was the COVID times, there was an extra period that was given to developers. One developer did something really smart. He came out into the market and said, I've got 6 months extra, but I'm ready to deliver on my RERA timeline. What did he do? His project is under construction, but what he said was, see, I have all my finances in place, I have my technology in place, and I'm able to deliver on time. That one statement brought the consumer to say to him, saying that I can trust this guy to deliver. RERA has brought some trust in under construction projects, right? If a developer is regularly filing that quarterly update and saying that my project has moved from here to here, that is one way of reaching out to the consumer and saying my project is moving. Keep the cranes moving. If the cranes are moving, consumers are not scared. It's when the cranes fall silent that the consumers stop coming to your under construction projects. If every developer here says that my cranes will keep moving no matter what, less labor, go slow, but at least keep the cranes moving, consumers will come to your under construction. It is in his favor. It is cheaper. He has to pay smaller installments and so on. And this is a time when there's no other means of investment. They're not spending on food, they're not spending on travel, they're not spending on holidays. They do have money. And if they can spend small tranches and buy a house, it is a good thing. But you have to keep your cranes moving.
Chaitanya, can I add a new marketing idea of the cranes keeping moving?
Chaitanya, can I come in for a bit? I think
30 seconds. I think we are running out of time.
30 seconds only I'll take. Yeah. I think I'll just say a bit here. We have interacted with more than 1 lakh customers in last 4 months. And 75% of our sales are still under construction, not RTMI. Let me say that. Yes, RTMI is a fad right now, but it is also in line with the fear that, which is with everything else. It's not just with this industry. It is with everything normal that was around you, you are afraid of. Likewise was with this product category also. But as the things normalize, I think one important factor, Rajanji has actually said absolutely this thing. I would just add one more point to this is, I think, easy finance. And I think we work with Hemant's organization very closely. More than 50-60% of our financing, retail financing actually happens through HDFC. And his team is actually amazingly supporting us. Easy finance in the construction, accessible finance. Most of these are first-time buyers and they don't have a clue, how advantageous is the availability of easy loans. So while the loan interest rates are down, but the accessibility of it and the collaboration of finance institutions with developers to provide a set of people, who are already on the verge of knowing what their financing capability is, what sort of loans they can take, and collaborate with developers. There could be one great avenue from where the ready customers can actually provide advantage. Unless he buys home loan is not going to happen. Unless he assesses home loan, he is not able to buy, unless these two sectors are able to look at and both have this awareness about this customer. I think it could be one big step that one can put in right now.
Got it, Vikas. And I think fundamentally what you talked about is the entire ecosystem has to come together.
Absolutely.
It's a financial institution, it's the channel partner, it's the developers, it's the employees, everything when it comes together, I think that makes a very meaningful difference. Gaurav, I'll just ask your views on, especially a lot of questions also coming on that, the tier 2 and tier 3 market developers, right? So I think there are a lot of tier 2, tier 3 markets. Wahan pe jo developers hai, any advice in terms of that, and how can they kind of catch up on these new trends? How can they kind of inspire trust to a lot of customers?
Here, I think I will also reach out to the larger fraternity and the big boys of our industry. The challenge of every tier 2 and tier 3 developer is the following. They know exactly the English alphabet from A to Z. They just don't know how to write a story around it. The reason for that to happen is because A, there are challenges in those micro markets. The talent is not available. I don't have the right people to talk this digital language because all said and done, the intent is there, but let's say the product is there, but however, the software is not there. There are not people available to do the job. So I think we need to help them to develop a library of people who can actually assist them. For example, somebody sitting in any of the tier 2 cities with the digital advantage of this country being whatever it is, can reach out to anywhere in the country and anywhere, wherever that other person might be. The question is, he doesn't know whom to reach out to, A. I think this is where the relevant experiences of the people on this panel and the experiences of the people who have done a similar good stories. The good thing is he's willing to pay. It's not that the gentleman doesn't want to pay. It's just that he doesn't know whom to approach. So I think it will help us to develop a library and the set of references of those people who can deliver end-to-end services. Like, for example, for one of our big projects in Delhi, we were talking to a company in New York, and they have office in London. I think the kind of a proposal they've sent is a mind-boggling proposal of what they can do. It's a very, very high-quality product. However, I can't afford it. So I'm looking for somebody, who's doing it in India, who's doing it in Delhi. And in that context, when I compare ourselves to any of the international market, we are also in Delhi sitting, become a tier 2 developer, because all said and done, I know what is to be done, but I don't know who will do it in India for me. So I think that is one thing. B, for these people, the most important thing is, and I think that delivery should be paramount. The challenge becomes that, the output cannot be of a tier 2 city. Anywhere you develop anything has to be of a quality which is applicable anywhere. There is nothing called as tier 2 quality, tier 3 quality. No codes of engineering and architecture tells you that I can do concrete in 3 different ways. There's only one way to do a job, either it's right or it is wrong. So I think to develop a culture of quality product will obviously differentiate between the men and the boys. I think that has been said enough on this panel by everybody who has talked about. The good thing is we are talking product once again, which had fallen out of our radar and the scope for last many, many years because markets were buoyant and people were buying whatever was given to them. So once those people talk about product and they talk about quality of the product, and also again, as I said, learn the new design innovations. Design doesn't cost you much. That same line, which is 6 inches, 9 inches thick, costs the same. It's just that where the line is put and how the rooms are designed and how those amenities are spaced makes all the difference. So that again takes us to the right designers, again takes us to the library of the designers. And once these two angles are put in and this particular person understands that if he has got to make a name and deliver the product with right ingredients, there's nothing called as a tier 2 developer, tier 1 developer, tier 3 developer. Everybody is a good developer thereafter. So this is my simple recommendation. A, let's give them some support and help in terms of the right talent which we are using in the big cities. B, focus on the culture of quality. And C, at the end of the day, don't stop construction because that's the only thing which matters. Jayashree said very rightly, cranes moving, jo dikhta hai, wohi bikta hai. I think that's a mantra we all have used in various English, Hindi formats, Marathi, depends on what you say, but that cannot be taken away. So I think this is the, my recommendation to everybody who is in those thoughts right now. Thank you.
I think absolutely valuable thoughts, I must say. And I think talking about focus on quality and focus on construction and talent, I think these are the probably right mantras which can actually help them sustain. Maybe last question, we're already running out of time. We have a lot of questions also. Ravi and Jayashree, probably if you can just take 30 seconds each, maybe to comment about what are the kind of role of data which you envisage in today's market. Do you see that since there's so much of customers, so many leads, so much data, we talked about customer demographics, changing patterns, do you see that developers are now actually thinking of systemic way of use of data, or we are still in a nascent stage? And how kind of, what is the kind of usage which you can kind of use of data? Any thoughts around that? Ravi, let me start with you and then we can go to Jayashree. Yeah.
Okay. Quite interesting, Chaitanya. In fact, we were just pondering on the similar thought. In fact, we had a detailed discussion and a review on the leads in the database that we currently are working on. And what actually has happened over the period of time, although the volume of leads have definitely increased, but at the same time, you also have to parallelly increase your capability of servicing the same. And while you're servicing, you also have to ensure that you're servicing the right people and you're reaching out to the right audience at the lesser time. The turnaround time has to really come down. So I think what we are really focusing on how to generate the lead to qualified lead ratio. So in fact, the overall funnel, the sales and marketing funnel, as they say, from lead to walk-in to book-in, I think we've gone a step even behind that and really worked upon the digital agencies and to ensure that how do I generate qualified leads at the very first instance itself. What we've seen over a period of time, the kind of qualified lead ratio, which was higher earlier, has actually slightly come down because, of course, everybody wants to inquire now. Everybody really wants to know what's happening in the market because they're curious, because they're seeing and hearing a lot of action around them and they want to be a part of that. So what we need to really do is understand how do I filter that at the very first instance itself and ensure that the right quality of database, right quality of leads get generated, and invest on the lead nurturing initiatives. So interact with them, engage with them, like for a very simple reason. At a lead generation point itself, a typical behavior is to pick up the phone and talk to him. So one should look at how do I give him an information flow before I even talk to him. So I can send him a SMS, I can send him a video, I can send him a e-brochure on his WhatsApp or on his email. So he is prepared to talk to me and he knows what kind of discussion that he'll get involved into. So I think that has really helped us in the last couple of months to ensure that the qualified lead ratio has really gone up from earlier days, which used to be around 20-30%. It's gone up to almost 35 to 40% now. So that has really helped us. And secondly, to ensure how do you really give that kind of an experience to the consumer when he comes in, because he obviously today has options. He has options just next door. He has options around him. So the kind of, the experience that you give him while he comes to the site also plays a very, very important role, Chaitanya.
Got it, Ravi. I think fair point. Let me just on the closing remarks, I think Jayashree, if you can just talk about very quickly, how do you see, that's one of the question also for another participant, how do you see a resale versus sale market coming by? Where would the customer be more keen? Are you finding any thoughts on the resale market is taking more prominence versus primary market? Any thoughts on that?
See, the customer has a budget. The customer has a need. The customer wants a certain type of product, and he needs to be in a certain micro market. Today, we're not talking about somebody going very far off. You have people are focusing on the micro markets. Within this micro market, his first choice is always the primary market. People want new houses. If that new house in his chosen budget and in his chosen configuration is not available, then first he will spread his net a little wider and see, can I get it in my micro market, a little further away, a periphery of the micro market. If you don't do that, then you will consider the secondary market. That's been the trend right now. But remember that today's consumer is also used to comparisons. When you buy a car, when you buy a phone, when you buy even food, you compare, right? Data is something that the consumer is conversant with. So the consumer, even when it comes to buying a house, what we do as Magic Bricks, because we have so much information, we give them many data points and say, now choose, right? Compare. Do you have this? Do you have this? Is this must have? Is this a good to have? Then they are able to compare apples to apples, and the consumer is doing that. So whatever you say, one, I say keep the cranes moving. Two, I say give out information. The consumer wants information. You're on mute. Chaitanya, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I can't deny the fact that the power of data and the way probably data can be placed back to the customer, his ability to take decisions, informed decisions makes far more better. And his ability to engage with the brand also increases manifold. So absolutely valid. So I'll just move on to some questions. So Ramesh, if you can, there's one question, if you would want to share your views on that. One is how is the price expectation in the festive period? There's a question which is quite a few people asked about. Are there any price expectations that customers may have in the festive period? And any opinion in terms of a luxury segment per se? These are two questions, Ramesh, if you would want to probably pick up them. You're on mute, Ramesh.
Okay, so we don't see any major price correction going to happen, because from 2014 onwards till 2018 itself, the market is already corrected by about 20-25%. So we don't see any scope of further correction in terms of pricing. Yes, in terms of offers, finances, you can see subvention offers going on in the market. You will be flexible payment plans. In a way, indirectly, it is a indirect way of price benefit which takes place in the market. But otherwise, there will be no price benefit, at least in the affordable segment, which will take place. And also in the mid segment, you will not see major correction, maybe 5 or 6% here and there. With the financial offers you will get. Affordable segment, there is not going to be any price correction. And in the high-end segment, yes, it has just started to move. So the only thing which we can say, it's all on a case-to-case basis, how it takes place, how the deals takes place on the luxury part of the segment.
Okay, okay. Hemant, I'll just point it to you if you would want to share your views. Some of the participants have asked questions on any projections on second home investments, and what do you find in terms of investors versus end users percentage?
Well, I think it's been a while since investors have gone out of the market, and mostly what you see now is only end users. So whatever experience we have of people buying a second house, yes, they would have an actual need for buying that second house. Either they upgrade from the initial smaller house to a larger apartment, or they buy it for their own family members. Like there are people who come to us that they want to keep their parents closer to them, or there are NRIs who want to buy a second house in the same city or in a different, in their native place that they have been living in. So people buying apartments for investment, or real estate as an investment class, I think the developers know better than me. But we've probably not seen that as much, for a while now.
Okay, okay, great. I think we have already overshot on time. So yeah, I think just to kind of close some of the remarks, I think excellent insights which you could bring on the table. A few things if I say, I think we talked a lot about the trust and the transparency bit. We talked a lot about the multi-channel view which is required. We talked about the entire ecosystem we need to bring, right from the architecture to channel partners to the customers, developers, everybody put together. I think extremely important point. And I think we also talked about the importance of digital and data and adoption of it within the organization. I think I clearly see that there is a very positive sentiment on the demand perspective. We heard that we are very nearing to the pre-COVID levels, very exciting news for the market with the festive season coming in. I think thank you everyone for the panel, and I'll request Mr. Ashok Mohanani ji to probably give a vote of thanks.
Yeah, so Chaitanya, I mean, just a few things which I would also like to conclude here is about how important our panelists have felt that brand equity is very important. Apart from technology and digitalization, I personally believe that, comfort with technology is discomfort with the manual ways. If one does not adopt to technology, it's similar way, like I can use the story of, Nokia and BlackBerry, what happened to them, how they got replaced by Apple and Samsung. The other important thing that came up through the discussion, and especially Vikas, was about the customer mind mapping. Okay, what your customers actually need, that's very important. So it's not only the functional needs, it's also, Vikas, the emotional and the spiritual needs. How one is actually going to, understand the mind of the customer is very important. We at Ekta have done an exercise of customer mind mapping right from the inception, when the thought comes to him to buy an apartment till he actually buys, registers the document and gets possession. We have come up with over 220 questions that come to his mind. And that is a study which I would urge all my colleagues here on this panel to really understand what is the mind of the customer, what he really requires, and accordingly focus on your future plans and the product. The product will sell anyways, but it's important that you kind of empathize with the customer is very important. I would like to thank our President Niranjan sir, Rajan Bandelkar, Chetan, of course, you for doing a great job, Gaurav ji, Pradeep Agarwal, Vikas, KV Ramesh, Dharmesh, Ravi, Hemant, Jayashree, as well as Tara ma'am, who's been a very silent spectator here. And I'll fail my duty if I don't thank our entire NAREDCO secretariat, including Rajesh ji, Preeti, Viresh, Abhijit, and everybody else. Thank you for having such a lovely session together and great insights. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you,
Very, very
everyone.
insightful. Look forward. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all
Thank
the
you, sir.
panelists.
Thank you,
Chaitanya.
Rajat ji.
Thank you, Chaitanya.
Thank
And
you.
Rajesh ji, Jayashree madam, Gaurav, and Hemant
Thank you,
Panikar.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hemant Panikar, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
Chaitanya,
Thank
very
you.
well done. Thank you very much.
And
Thank you,
Vikas,
thank you.
Vikas, thank you for your time. And
Rajan
good
ji,
input.
thanks a lot for allowing me. Ashok ji, good to
Yeah.
see you as well. We haven't met yet. We'll meet now.
Yeah, yeah, of course, certainly. I was in
And,
Pitam last night, though we signed last night.
I am
Thank you for
aware of
saying
that. I
that.
received it on WhatsApp. Thank you, Jayashree. It's again first time meeting. Ravi, good to catch up here, yaar. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Chaitanya. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Rajesh ji.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Vikas ji.
Bye,
Thank you.
bye, bye.
Chaitanya,
gentlemen.
bye-bye. Have a great day.
And
Bye, Jayashree.
congratulations,
Thank you all.
congratulations and all the best, Secretariat NAREDCO, Sumit, Priti, and Rajesh ji and entire team.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
Thank you
your
very much, sir.
blessings.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok ji.
Thank you. Bye, bye, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Okay, Chaitanya.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chaitanya. Take care. Thank you very much. Abhijit, thanks a lot.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhijit. Take care. Bye.
Okay, okay.
I'm ending the call now. Yeah.
Chalo. Okay, well done by everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure, good.